So the questions we got this week were a lot of them were about back to school stuff or what I call like discomfort with our kids' discomfort. And that's what I want to talk with you guys about today. So several different questions about different things, but the common theme here is real struggle, the way that we feel as parents when we watch our kids have a hard time. And I want you to kind of tune into that common theme as I'm going through these questions. So the first question was from Joe, who I love that you said you have a session already set up with me for next week, but you just don't want to wait that long to get my feedback. I love that. So Joe is struggling because her son is really not doing well with transitions back to school. And, Joe, you asked a similar kind of question last week. And so and the way that you worded both your questions was kind of a little bit of a giveaway to me. There's a lot of like theorizing as to like, why is he struggling? Is it because of COVID and we had all this time off and now he's going back in person? Is it because it's a new classroom? Is it because there's new students in the classroom? All of those theories could be totally right, and it's not wrong for us to kind of wonder and explore. What I want to say for all of the answers I'm giving today is like we don't want to get too bogged down in the why of why is this stuff happening. And I know that you were in the Conversations That Connect workshop last week, Joe, so I know that you know what I'm talking about when I say like we need to just differentiate. Are we talking about a discipline thing or are we talking about a relationship and a connection thing? When we're talking about a relationship thing, it's great to be curious and explore and ask questions and connect and discover what's going on behind the scenes. When we're actually in the moment handling kiddos' misbehavior or figuring out how we need to respond to what our children are doing, that's the time to put our best face on, put our best foot forward, and do the best we can with the information we have at hand. And so, that being said, what I loved that you said was, how can I help him communicate what's bothering him? I think he's doing a really great job of communicating, Joe. He doesn't want to be there, and he is screaming about it. I don't think you could have any more clear communication than that from our kids. And I know I'm saying that in this tongue-in-cheek way, but the reason why I'm saying that is to illustrate this point. Like, your kiddo is having a rough time. It's totally normal and understandable when young kids have a hard time with new things in life, whether it's the transition from mom to school or just the transition from summer to school or the transition from one grade to the next or the transition from there used to be 5 kids in this class and now there's 10. Like, all of those transitions are challenging for all humans, especially young kids. There's nothing crazy or bad or wrong going on here that I can see from what you've shared so far. The real problem is that you hate it. The problem isn't that he can't communicate. The problem is that you hate the way he communicates. And so, what you said in your post was like, how can I help him communicate what's bothering him? How can I help him deal with what's bothering him? And how can I get him into class with a peaceful transition? That's a lot of objectives that you're bringing to the table. And once again, since I know you were in this week's workshop, I can kind of call back to that. Like, you have an agenda in the way that you're addressing your kid. You have 2 kind of warring objectives here. One is get him to act differently, and the other is communicate with him and understand what's going on with him. Those 2 things are not going to happen at the same time. And so you need to decide that in the moment when you're dropping him off at school, we are going to follow the drop-off plan. And if he's upset about it, that's okay. He's allowed to be upset, and you're allowed to have a kiddo who's upset, and you can handle it when your kiddo's upset, and he can handle it when he's upset. Both of you came earthside equipped with intact nervous systems. Both of you can handle being upset. It's not a problem to solve in the moment. It's just something that we need to roll with. And that's the behavior piece. And then outside of that, when you are, in the car on the way home, or when it's the weekend and you're chatting, or you're snuggling before bedtime, have that curiosity with no agenda. It's not about changing how he acts at school. It's just about connecting and feeling understood and heard and all of those things. And so that's how you're going to achieve that whole understand, help him communicate what's bothering him, help him learn how to deal with it. And guess what? Leaving him to sit and deal on his own with his uncomfortable and negative emotion is also helping him deal with it. And guess what? He's not dealing with it alone. He has a whole staff of loving um, uh, professionals, whether it's the teachers or the other support staff there that are helping him through it. What's really happening here, I think, above all, is the discomfort with your kid's discomfort. And I love Melissa's comment there, the story of her life. Yeah, that's the story of all mom life, not just yours, Melissa, right? Like, it's hard watching our kids suffer the slings and arrows of growing up and having to do hard stuff. It is hard. It is painful for us. And one of the best gifts we can give our kids is being okay, being in pain a little bit while they go through their tough stuff.